How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Good Morning Let's Basketball. For any returning viewers, welcome back. We appreciate the support. For any new viewers we may have, welcome to the podcast. My name is Kevin. I also got Victor and Daniel joining me today. We got a good list of topics today. Starting off, we're going to be talking about March Madness. We're in the full swing of it now. Final Four actually starts today, so we're going to touch upon that a little bit, as well as some comments that Rudy Gobert has made on the NBA favoring teams, and the NBA making all NBA teams and game minimums to be able to be eligible to win awards. So we're going to first start off by talking about March Madness. The Final Four starts today. We got Miami playing UConn and San Diego State University playing Florida Atlantic. I'm really excited for these games today just because I'm really excited to see what Florida Atlantic's going to do. They're definitely my team that I want to win, 9 seed. It's going to be a good Cinderella story, as well as Miami too. I would love to see those two teams just end up making it to the Final Four, seeing them play. Honestly, I did not expect either of these teams to make it this far, not even the Sweet 16. So it is pretty cool to see them. But yeah, what are your guys' thoughts on today's Final Four matchups, and who do you have taking it home, as well as final game, and maybe even final score, if you feel that confident?
I think so for the FAU SDSU game, I want to say FAU. I want to see them go in, but I feel like SDSU might win and then go to a championship. And then the other side, I think Miami's got it. So I think those two will face each other. If I had to put a final score for the final game, I'd probably go with like 74-78. I think it'll be a close game in the championship.
Yeah, I would agree. I think Miami's probably going to take that side, and then I'm also going to go, what is it called? Florida Atlantic Pacific or something like that? No. What is it?
Florida Atlantic University.
Florida Atlantic University. Yeah, I don't know. Honestly, I don't pay attention too much to college basketball. I think I've said this before, but yeah, I think Miami would be fun to watch win. They've looked good throughout the entirety of this March Madness tournament, and they seem just kind of like the best team to overall. So I would say either them or Florida Atlantic. But I realistically think that if Florida Atlantic were to get into a final game, championship game against Miami, they would lose. That's just my personal opinion.
I saw something crazy too that said like I think there was only like 6 brackets that had this Final Four. Everybody who made a bracket.
I don't know if
But
I don't know if,
it wasn't like like they didn't have perfect brackets, you know what I mean? But they ended up with this Final Four.
yeah, I mean, I thought at the beginning of March Madness when like there was a bunch of upsets, people were saying like there exists no perfect oh, well, that was, I guess, a perfect bracket. So I guess people could have had this. Well, if it was a perfect bracket though, they would have had to guess the 4 teams in the final, right?
There's other games that they didn't guess correctly. Like you could still have the Final Four teams remaining, but like mess up a bunch of other stuff.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know. That's pretty cool.
No, honestly, those people that ended up putting those teams in their Final Four, and you said there was how many? 6?
Yeah, 6.
That's insane. Like I said, I would have never guessed any 4 of these teams to make it to my Final Four. I mean, in my bracket, none of them did, but I guess they were right. I was wrong. But yeah, that backcourt of Jordan Miller and Isaiah Wong for Miami, they just been going off. So I'm really excited to watch them play, as well as Janelle Davis for Florida Atlantic. So I think the Final Four is going to be like nothing less of crazy. I'm expecting basically shootouts for both the games because all these teams love to run and gun and put points on the board. So yeah, I think it's going to be an amazing watch. But moving on, Bronny has officially become the highest paid NIL earner in history. I saw an article earlier said that his contract or his total earnings is set for around $7 million. We know he's with Nike, with Beats by Dre, and I can't remember what other company he's with, but $7 million going into college already earning. That's pretty friggin' insane. Like, I'm sure that he's making more than some NBA players out there, and he's not even in the league. He hasn't even committed to a college yet, which to me is pretty crazy. Fully expecting him to go to Ohio State for sure because he's a Nike athlete. But yeah, did you guys expect Bronny to basically be the highest paid earner? To me, it makes perfect sense. Obviously, I mean, he carries the name LeBron James Jr. literally. So to me, it kind of makes sense. But what do you guys think on that?
I
I
would
mean,
say I would
go.
say like 3 years ago, no, I wouldn't have expected this because as you guys remember, like Bronny just now this year, I think became a 5 star. So it's fairly new. I mean, I think we all knew that he was gonna have a good chance of being in the league just because of, like you said, who his last name is. But I think a lot of us kind of thought that Bronny was gonna come into the league and not really be anything. And he's kind of proved a lot of people wrong going into his senior year of high school. Um, so yeah, I mean he's a phenomenal player. I definitely didn't expect it to be as much as it is. I mean, an NIL deal worth what was it, 7 million, 10 million, somewhere between $7 and $10 million is just absolutely ridiculous. I saw a statistic earlier this week that basically said that the average income across all sports, it was kind of like ranking them. And basketball was number one at like the average salary for a basketball player being somewhere around that same range of like 7 to 10 million. And it's crazy to think that a college basketball player is making the equivalent, if not more, than the average basketball player or professional basketball player right now. But well deserved. I mean, he's a great player, good name. So yeah, I think that a lot of companies will make a lot of money out of having Bronny James in their advertisement. That's not even a question. Um, we'll see how this plays into his ability to kind of keep his focus and still focus on ball. I mean, if you're making $7 to $10 million and you're in college, I'm sure that's not really an easy load to handle. I mean, I don't know what I would be doing if I was in college right now with $7 million in the bank. I mean, that's just absolutely ridiculous. But I think he'll do well. He comes from a family of money. He knows how to handle himself well. So it's kind of my opinion on it.
I was gonna say because you brought up that list of like the highest like paid like sports, and NBA was number one. But like I thought it was very interesting to see that the MLB was like I think like top four in that list. But there was another baseball league that was higher earning average than the MLB, which was kind of weird to me. Did you see that league? I think it was like I
Say that
forgot.
again. There was another MLB league.
No, no, no. There was like another baseball league that was earning higher averages than the MLB.
Oh, that is interesting. No, I hadn't seen that.
Yeah, I can't remember the list. I was trying to look it up really quick while you were talking, but I couldn't find it again. I did see that same list you were talking about, but I was gonna say when I saw like that Bronny was gonna get 7 million and he was gonna be the highest paid NIL earner, I was kind of shocked. I mean, I know he is like LeBron's son. It makes sense, right, that he's gonna get all this money, but still, like I just didn't expect that he would be the highest paid in history as of now. But I mean, he's doing good. Like you said, he's played very great. He's improved his game a lot. He did good in the All American game, the McDonald's game. He had like 15 points, 4 assists, and 2 steals. So he did pretty good. And then, what do you guys think about this? Do you think because LeVar Ball said that he should do like the same thing that LaMelo Ball did and play overseas in like Australia or New Zealand instead of going to college?
Um,
I,
I'm not sure, honestly. I mean, playing overseas, it's a completely different game than it is anywhere else, like compared to NBA and college. Me personally, I feel like it would just have to be like what my situation was if I had to make that decision. Like if I was in Bronny's situation, I probably would just go ahead and play college ball. But if I was an overseas player, I'd probably just stick to where I'm at. Like I said, it's a completely different game. You're going to learn a completely different style of play as well as learning to play with a team. But college also does teach that as well. I think it might be a little bit better for overseas because you are playing with professionals. Like these are professional basketball players, grown men pretty much. Like with college, the age range, it's pretty restricted. So the level of talent overseas might be a little bit better as well. Actually, I think it definitely is, depending on where you go. So, but I think for Bronny's situation, it kind of would not have made sense for him to go overseas. I feel like the college route for him will be good. I feel like he's a good enough player to where he will make a difference, like no matter where he goes, whether it's overseas or college or G League or whatever. I think the G League route is kind of trash, from being honest. But yeah, I feel like the college route is definitely like the right decision for him.
I mean, I would agree. I think if you're like Kevin said, complacency, not even complacency, but like you're familiar with where you're at, right? So in Bronny's case, for him to go overseas and play somewhere else, I think would be out of his element. And it's kind of like why. I mean, I understood why LaMelo did it, just because I think at the time, like he needed to raise his draft stock compared to what it was going out of high school. But yeah, I mean, why would you leave an opportunity to go straight to the NBA after college if you do well in college? To go take a chance on the European leagues and potentially get beat out, because like you said that they play competitive ball out there, and if you're a younger guy, it's probably going to be really hard to make a name for yourself out there. You're probably just going to end up fighting the bench and not really playing a lot. So I think it's within his best interest to just go to a school. I mean, I think Bronny has shown interest in his father's home state of Ohio, so that would be a lot of fun for him, I think, and a good opportunity for him to have a chance to like grow into his own maturity a little bit. Going into college, I think he'll have to learn how to be an adult. That way, they don't have a repeat on the same situation that's like going on with Ja Morant. Not that would ever happen, but it's something to think about. Him going to school, I think, would be beneficial to him, especially here in the States.
No, yeah. I mean, I think like if he had no other option, like he was like not like say he wasn't this 5-star recruit and he wasn't getting this like the eyes on him, I think going to overseas to play would be his best option. But looking at where he's coming from, I don't think he should go overseas. So I think the right move for him is to go to college. And like that LaMelo situation, I think he was forced to go overseas because of like LiAngelo Ball, like his brother. I think he like he got in that incident where he had to get dropped by UCLA or something, and then that just forced LeVar Ball to put them into like the Australian league.
Yeah, I mean, them going to the Australian League, I think, was purely because of the situation. Like I said, the draft stock went down after the situation that happened with LiAngelo, and I think exactly he stole something, right? That he like shoplifted something really small, like a watch or something like that. It wasn't really expensive, but it was about just the principle of the matter.
And the fact that I was in a completely different country too, like laws over there are different. He was locked up for some time. But yeah, LaMelo didn't really go to college because he wasn't eligible to. He was making money prior to going to college, and that was before like all like the NIL deals and stuff was into place because obviously big baller brand, he had his own shoes. So he physically wasn't allowed to go to college. He had no choice but to go overseas. But seeing Bronny's contract, him making $7 million, kind of makes me wonder what other players in the past like would have made. Like what would have Zion made in NIL deals in his time at Duke? Like he was huge. Or like in terms of a different sport, like Joe Burrow, he was huge in college too. Like what would these guys would have made in NIL deals? That's kind of like fun to think about. You think they would have made like more than seven, way past, maybe even way less, but these are huge names in college sports. So it kind of makes me wonder. It's a fun topic.
You think
I mean,
Williams? You think Mikey Williams will make more?
No, probably not. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not really seeing too much stuff with Mikey now. A lot of the attention that I'm seeing is going towards Bronny, which Mikey will be going to Memphis, which is good. I mean, we might see them. Well, Bronny hasn't even committed yet to a college, but like I said, I'm gonna anticipate him to go to Ohio State. Just that's because hometown. That's where his dad was born. That's where his dad would have went if he would have went to college. They could match up, which would be cool, but I don't really expect Mikey to make more than $7 million.
yeah, I mean, to real quick, I just wanted to mention something about the college athletes making money. I think honestly, if there was a college athlete that would make a ton of money, it's definitely going to be in basketball. Just because, like you said, like Joe Burrow would have been a lot of fun to have NIL deals with, like when he was playing at UCLA. But that's over the
LSU.
course of over the course of one season, and I feel like the big names in like college football, like the quarterbacks and the really big names and wide receivers, those names don't really start to appear until like later in the season, once you start to see these guys like, oh, this guy's special, this guy's really good on Bama, or this versus basketball, it's almost like these guys go into college already with hype around them. Same thing as college football, but college basketball, I think, there's a lot of media attention that goes around there. What I wanted to ask you guys is, how long do you guys think that record breaking number of Bronny making 7 million, how long do you think it'll take before the next NIL deal breaks it again? I don't think it's very long. I think it'll probably be a year or two, maybe 3, before the next one that's close to that, if not more.
I think about like 5 years.
It's a relatively new thing. Like it's only been the NIL money deals have only been a thing for a handful of years now. So as time goes on, we're just gonna see like maybe like other athletes, like a hyped up soccer player, or maybe a football star will get a bigger contract. Like what's his face? Peyton Manning's nephew.
Mm,
He could get huge money because
yeah.
it's one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. Well, both of his uncles or whatever, Eli and Peyton. Like he's definitely gonna have some eyes on him. He plays for Texas. Like he could definitely be offered some big money. But like I said, I definitely think basketball players will probably get more of like the larger take home simply because March Madness too. Like I anticipate that more people watch March Madness than the college football playoffs. More people watch March Madness more than really other sports in general. So yeah, it's going to be cool to see how much money these college kids are going to be making, like with NIL deals and stuff, once it becomes more like established, because it's only been a thing for a handful of years now. So yeah, we will see for sure.
I mean, just like imagine like you're like the highest paid athlete going to this university and you just show up to class and like you're just like sitting there and you see this dude like he's making like 7 million, it's just crazy to think.
It is crazy to think someone you're in. Yeah, I don't even know what to say about it.
You know what I'm
Makes
saying? Like, and you're just sitting in class being like, damn, bro, I'm like 40,000 in debt and this dude's making 7 million.
his degree better pay off 7 million.
So actually, Vic, that's like a really good point. I mean, do you guys think that Bronny will be in classes from a safety precaution standpoint? Just because, I mean, we're not gonna talk about politics in this, but there was recently a tragic school shooting that happened in Nashville, and it's not completely foreign to the average like American student that's like a real possibility of something that could happen of somebody being crazy. So do you guys think like Bronny would be taking regular classes? I mean, I would think he probably would not, or he would be going in with like a absolute SWAT team of security.
I mean, the way that the athletes like schedules are set up, like they're kind of like based around like their practices and training. So honestly, I don't know. Like I think you'll definitely see him in class. Like I don't think he's gonna walk in there with SEAL Team 6, like the way he explained it. That's a little OD. But yeah, like I said, I mean the way their schedules are set up is different than like the average just regular students. Like classes could be very early in the morning, later at night to where there's not a bunch of people. Don't know, don't go to Ohio State, I'll never know. But from what I've seen, I've never really seen athletes in classes. And in my time at IU, if it is, it's just like a football player. I'm not gonna say y'all just a football player because they're an athlete, but like I've never seen like any like the big name kids in class because you probably no one really does, I think. But
Yeah.
speaking on big teams, Rudy Gobert has made some comments on NBA favoring teams like Warriors, Kings, and Suns. I haven't looked into the comments he's made too deeply, but it's funny to hear from Rudy Gobert. I guess just doing what he can to stay relevant because basketball clearly doesn't do it. Um, but yeah, NBA favoring teams like Warriors, Kings, and Suns. I mean, I don't know. Like all these teams are pretty solid. Like in what does he mean in terms of like favoring teams? Like I was just like a little confused on like what he was talking about.
Well, I thought I had it on my list. Let me pull it up. Oh, this is what he said. He's like, it's bullshit. It's not fair. It's really not fair. Every night I've been in this league for 10 years, and I tried to always give the benefit of the doubt, but it's hard for me to think that they're not trying to help the Suns win last night. It's hard for me to not think they didn't try to help the Warriors win the other night or Sacramento Kings the other night. It's just so obvious as a basketball player that's been in this league for so long. It's disrespectful. And I think he was just kind of like like saying that like he's not getting the calls as much as like these other teams like with big names. And if you kind of look and when the Timberwolves played the Suns, that game was kind of interesting because Booker had 15 free throws and the Timberwolves as a whole had 12 free throws.
I saw that.
So that's kind of crazy. But like if you dig more deeper into this, into the like comments, because I did a little bit, and the teams that shoot the highest like free throws attempts a game is number one, the Lakers, and then the Suns are 28th on that list. They're averaging around 21.6 free throw attempts a game.
Damn. I mean, no, I mean the numbers definitely make sense. Like when you bring it up, like when you compare like how many free throws a team may shoot per game. I mean, obviously when you have guys on your team that also look to draw fouls, such as like the 76ers, Harden and Embiid, each of them go to the line at least 10 times each during the game because that's kind of the way they play sometimes. They try to go to the free throw line, easy points. So it could just be a coincidence. Like teams that are better are going to know how to get to the line, such as like the Warriors and the Kings and the Suns. Like these players know how to draw contact and be able to finish like through their shot. But like I said, the numbers are there. Like we know the history with like the referees and like what's been going on this season with Van Vliet and that one ref, I can't remember his name, but also with Chris Paul and Scott Foster. Chris Paul's never won a game with Scott Foster refing in the playoffs. So yeah, I mean the refs have been a hot topic this year with just calls and stuff that they've been doing. And I remember we talked about it in a previous podcast about how they should start punishing referees because they'll say like, "Oh yeah, we missed this call. I'm sorry," and then it's kind of the situation's over. Like to me, like nah, like that's fucking stupid. I'm sorry, like that's all you got to do. Like fines and suspensions, I think should definitely be a thing that refs should start getting penalized for.
They actually just started doing that. I saw something. I was gonna bring it up on a podcast, but I completely forgot. So if I kind of misconstrue some information, my bad. But I remember seeing something that saying that after Van Fleet made those comments, the NBA referee was Ben Taylor, and they took some money out of his paycheck or something for it, I think. And if I can remember right, that like he wasn't the head referee for the next games that he was refereeing. It was like someone else was the head referee. So he
Okay.
kind of took like a little bit of a hit from that.
Okay. Wow, that's actually pretty interesting. I didn't hear that about Ben Taylor. But yeah, like those are like that right there, like those are like decent punishments because like being like the head referee, like that's definitely like what they all aim for. You want to be like the referee, the one that like makes the final say on calls. Also, being a head referee, I'm assuming you get paid more just because like you're the head referee. Like there's definitely like a veteran time status too. So being bumped down, it's definitely something that they will take into heavy consideration, as well as taking money straight out of your paycheck. I mean, money gets taken out of paycheck. Enough money definitely gets taken out of paychecks already. So getting more for not doing your job correctly, I think will definitely like incentivize them to do better. So I'm glad to see that a change is being made.
Yeah, I mean, so when it comes to, I don't know. So with the Golden State Warriors, and I think I've been saying this for a while, it's pretty clear to me that the NBA likes the Warriors and they like certain teams. Um, they say it all the time, athletes alike and owners, they say this organization is a business. And I think that what people forget is that they're an entertainment business through and through. Which means that most likely, yeah, they are probably pushing certain agendas and they probably are pushing certain scripts, if you want to call it that. Because what sounds better? Oh, the Kings beat out the Warriors and secure a 6 seed spot, and now the Warriors are gone, or something like that, or the Warriors are back in the in the playoffs. I'm not saying that that's not a great example, really far fetched, but what I mean is that yeah, I think that when teams are established as being a fan favorite, you're of course going to let them get more calls. You're of course going to let them play basically easier basketball on the court. Um, I don't know. I mean, I think Fred Van Vliet saying that to me, it doesn't really mean anything because I think that the NBA works two ways. I think that, yes, they probably allow teams to have a little bit more success based on their popularity rating. But I also think it depends on the team's ability to be successful, right? The Warriors, if they weren't hitting threes from 30 feet deep with Clay and Steph Curry, would probably not get the same level of calls called or not calls called, but fouls called, and they probably wouldn't be such a fan favorite from the NBA and the fans. Because if you're not making your shots, then you're not popular. So yeah, I think if Fred VanVleet wants to be more recognizable, then his team just needs to do better. Once his team starts doing better, I think that would mean, the NBA could prop them up, but who knows? I mean, this is all backdoor kind of stuff.
But then, like, if you look at it too, Minnesota's a kind of like dead in the middle. They're 15th for most free throw attempts a game, and then the Warriors are actually last at 30th with 20 attempts per game.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I mean, definitely foul calls are something that's important. Obviously free throws matter and stuff like that. But I think after watching that documentary of the referee that was caught for like betting and stuff on the own games, and he even said, I think we talked about this a few podcasts ago, that he could change a game's course with a point like difference of 10 points. So I mean, moving forward, my opinion on all basketball games is that at the end of the day, it could just as easily be manipulated and turned around. So, foul trouble or not foul trouble, but free throws definitely matter. But I also think it matters when like they don't call a good foul on one of the Warriors defenders that hit not what am I trying to say, like goaltends the ball or something like that. Warriors get possession, they go down the court, score a three. Okay, well, that's 3 points that they just made and 2 points that should have been called a foul on, but weren't. So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, you brought up a point that we talked about a few podcasts ago about that 2002 Western Conference Final Series with the Sacramento Kings and the Lakers. The Lakers were on their championship run, and how the NBA would have rather preferred to see the Lakers in the NBA championship playing against the Nets over the Sacramento Kings. And the numbers are there to back it up again. In that game 6, the Lakers shot 40 free throws total in that game, and 27 of them, 27 free throws in the fourth quarter. That's fucking nuts, bro. That's
Yeah.
13 shooting fouls and and like bonus fouls, basically. 27 free throws in one quarter. And they were actually a down majority of the corner, too. I think a few of their players had fouled out. Both of their big men had fouled out because they had to guard Shaq. So, I mean, how do you stop Shaq? You foul him. But there was also a bunch of other fouls. Like, they didn't foul him enough to the point where they had to shoot 27 free throws in the final quarter.
Yeah.
So, like I said, again, you'll never know the conspiracy. It's all past. People were punished for it. Donaghy was. But, yeah. It's kind of funny how Rudy Gobert brought that up. I mean, if I were Rudy Gobert, I would not want fouls to be called on me because people would start realize how like garbage he is. Um, he shoots like the lights are off, honestly. So I don't know why he's complaining about not going to the free throw line as much.
Was it
But
Rudy Gobert? Was it Rudy Gobert? I thought it was Fred VanVleet that made the comment against that one ref, or was it two different incidences?
Rudy Gobert made comments about NBA teams about the NBA favoriting teams, like the better teams, and then Van Fleet made the comment about Ben Taylor and
Gotcha. Okay.
the specific
That's what I
ref.
thought.
But yeah, now to take a little bit of a darker turn. Tyronn Lue has lost 7 family members since December. Over the course of 4 months, he's lost 7 family members. Head coach of the LA Clippers. How do you guys think that this scenario has been affecting the Clippers? Obviously, the players, like every NBA team, like they're all a family, of course. So seeing like basically a member of the family losing family members on their own is definitely going to hurt. I'm assuming Tyronn Lue, there's some days where he definitely doesn't feel like thinking about basketball or going into work that day because of the amount of family members he's lost. But the Clippers, they're in a little bit of a tricky spot. They're trying to make a push for the playoffs. Obviously, they don't have Paul George for the rest of the year, which definitely sucks. Westbrook actually had a phenomenal night the other night with 36 points against the Memphis Grizzlies, as well as a win. And then Kawhi, he's doing Kawhi, but hopefully everything else can fall in place for that team. So what do you guys think about like where the Clippers currently stand and like how this scenario could possibly affect their team?
I mean, I really like the Clippers. I think I've been pretty adamant about the fact that I thought that they were going to make a really good playoff run in the next month or so, or yeah, in the next 2 months or something like that. I think that whenever a whenever a teammate, which I would consider even the coach kind of like a teammate, is going through personal issues. The whole team kind of feels that. And obviously we saw that with like the Golden State Warriors and the whole situation that's going on with Andrew Wiggins. For those that don't know, Andrew Wiggins, his wife of like who knows how many years, they had 2 kids together. Turns out that she was like cheating on him and that those 2 kids are not his. And all of the players, kind of came to the defense of Andrew Wiggins, saying, we're going to give him as much time as he needs. We're gonna play our best without him, but we're definitely wanting him to come back, and all the rest of that stuff. I think the same thing kind of applies for Tyronn Lue. I mean, those guys want to win for their coach. I think that probably Ty Lue keeps all that stuff very close to the belt and doesn't really show his emotions to his players as much. He just wants them to win. But yeah, I mean, if there's any other reason to be incentivized by winning a championship this year, I think the Clippers have it. With Russell Westbrook being in the same city that he was traded away from, playing the same arena as the same team that he was traded away from, and pretty much disregarded. And I mean, I really didn't like the way that Russell Westbrook was treated in LA. I mean, I thought that people were being a little too harsh on him. So I think that whole team has a lot of incentive to win this year, especially in memory of the family members lost by Tyronn Lue.
It was kind of interesting to see too, because like Tyronn Lue was asked about it, and he said he didn't attend any of the funerals because the Clippers were on a losing streak at the time, and he wanted his focus to be on the Clippers. And he also added the fact that he said he's just built different. So, I mean, just like I think everybody has a little bit of a different grieving process too, as well. But I I don't think that the Clippers are going to be like Western Conference Finals favorite. I mean, they're sitting fifth right now. Paul George, he got an injury, key star for that team. With the addition of Westbrook, he's had some good games, he's had some bad games. I don't he's got to be consistent for them to be like a very good playoff team. And I don't think he's as consistent enough yet to be that like final factor for the Clippers to go far.
Yeah, I'm just gonna straight up say like I don't think he should be a factor, period. Again, bro, not trying to hate on Westbrook, but like it's past his time, man. Like he's not that player that he was anymore. I and like with the Clippers, like Daniel, how you said like you didn't like how he was treated in for the Lakers, but turning the ball over 5 times in a game and shooting it off the side of the backboard and shooting a pull up mid range and hitting nothing but top of the backboard. You know, how you supposed to treat him? Like I'm a I'm a pretty heavy critic for Westbrook because I do love to watch Westbrook play, and when I watch Westbrook play, I don't want to see him play like trash. Like I want to see him like go off. But like I said, like I just don't. I just think he's past his time. Like there's just younger, better talent out there that I feel like the Clippers should go out and try to pursue because they're 2 stars right now, PG and Kawhi. They're not old, but they're a little older in age. Injuries have been catching up to them. They do need a younger star there if they actually do want to be able to go far. And that's the thing with a lot of teams now. A lot of the better teams now, the top ranked teams in the NBA, they're young. They're younger teams. The Celtics, their 2 star players are 25 and 26 years old, not even in their primes yet. The Bucks, number one team in the NBA. Giannis is just now technically entering his prime, which is scary as shit. But you also look at teams like the Nuggets, they're young. So the young players, like they just hold like a different value. If you get like a young superstar, I can definitely take you to new heights. So I definitely think the Clippers should try to aim for a younger, better player like that. Maybe even Jaylen Brown. I know after this season, Jaylen Brown, I believe, is a free agent, and he stated that if the Celtics don't make a good playoff push, which I'm guessing they will, that he would maybe explore other options, which would be crazy because I think Jaylen Brown could be an amazing player, like for any other. He'd be an amazing player for any team, but he could definitely become like he could be a number one option on like many like worser teams. And Jalen, if this video ever comes across to you, there's some money to be thrown in Chicago. Um, Definitely love to have you here. But shoot, maybe even the Clippers would be a good spot for him too. I wouldn't hate to see him there.
Um, yeah, so a couple of things. I would say number one, that Celtics team, if Jaylen Brown were to leave, would fall apart. That's just my opinion. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people at home would be like, no, Jason Tatum's the greatest basketball player since Kobe, this and that. But personally, I just don't believe in the hype. I think Jason Tatum is a phenomenal basketball player, but I think Jaylen Brown is the glue that holds that team together, just at least from the games that I've seen. I think if he were to leave the Celtics, that would be really bad. I also see where you're coming from when it comes to the Westbrook situation. He's obviously a little bit of an older player, and his style of play is very different from newer age players now. He's very much kind of like that get to the paint, dunk on somebody, do a hard layup, active all the time, just an absolute like hustler the entire game, which is great. But we've seen time and time again that doesn't win basketball games. I see where you're coming from. A lot of these younger guys, they just have an absurd mid-range game where they have an absurd 3-point shot, and it's really hard to compete with that if you're Russell Westbrook and your game is completely developed over the last 10 years, specifically in the paint. Now, I will say that saying that Westbrook is old or that he's, past his prime, I think is what the terminology that you use. He's definitely past his prime, but I don't think he's past his time of being able to play at a high level. I think he still serves a great value to teams. I mean, just as a ball distributor, as well as I don't know, just a ball distributor as well as just an athlete. I mean, he gets you those really good defensive stops. He gets you those good rebounds. He's a good player to have on your team. I just think he needs to be in the right city. I also think that the Clippers, like you said, are probably not Western Conference favorites just because I think the NBA will want to see the Warriors, the Lakers, the Suns, one of those three teams in the finals rather than a team like the Clippers. So I definitely think that there's not really a lot of chance for Russell Westbrook and Paul George and Kawhi Leonard to win another ring. But if there is a time to do it, I think it's now. I could agree with you on that. I think that in the next 2 to 3 years, they are just playing with father time, and that would ultimately end up being the death of the Clippers if they don't win a championship in the next few years.
Yeah, Westbrook actually had a phenomenal game last night. They played the Grizzlies. Grand total of 4 points with 4 rebounds, 25% shooting in 26 minutes. Here's the kicker, 5 turnovers. Give my boy a max. Him out. This is the guy.
Send him straight to the Warriors.
Yeah,
Steph
man.
Curry, immediate trade. Steph Curry for Russell Westbrook.
Get ready to learn Chinese, buddy. You're going to the Guangdong Tigers.
Ni hao,
But yeah,
ni hao.
yeah. Again, being a hater, 100% just right now. Like I would love to see this guy turn around, but last night it's performances like that where I say the shit that I say. Like it's just like the day before that, he had 36 points. Like how
He's
I don't get it.
he's hella inconsistent. That's what it is. Like
So inconsistent.
Yeah. No, and he is. I'll give it to you guys. Like, I mean, I've liked Westbrook for a while now, and he'll have one game where he drops a triple double with 40 points, and then the next game he basically is running around the court for 45 minutes. So yeah, I mean, Russell Westbrook is an enigma, honestly, as a basketball player. But I enjoy watching him play, and I hope that he succeeds. That's just me personally.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe you can turn it around. But the NBA has made a decision or trying to make a decision and having a 65 game minimum to be eligible for all NBA and NBA MVP award, which I think is pretty cool. I mean, I feel like the players that have won MVP within the recent years already have played, like especially with the MVP award, have mostly played like 90% of the season. I kind of see like this game minimum, the 65 game minimum, more like for like rookie of the year and like all NBA teams, because I can't remember which year it was, but I believe it was the year LaMelo Ball won rookie of the year. He played like way less games than Anthony Edwards that year because he got hurt like halfway through the year, but he still won rookie of the year. Now, if LaMelo didn't get hurt, he was playing very well that season as a rookie. I think he still would have won it, but a lot of people did think that Anthony Edwards deserved it because he played more games and he put up nearly similar stats. But I like this rule. I think it's cool. I think it will incentivize a lot of players to maybe try to play more games if they do care about making all NBA teams and winning awards. But yeah, also there's also buzz going around with the in-season tournament, which again,
It's
I don't
happening.
know. It's happening, is for sure.
Yeah, it's happening next
Okay.
season.
Next season?
Yeah, so what they're gonna do is it's gonna be games into the regular season schedule starting in November. 8 teams advance to a single elimination tournament in December. Then the final four will be held at a neutral site, either like in Las Vegas has been like the discussion of that. Like that's probably where they're gonna do the final four. And then each in-season tournament game would count towards the regular season standings. So the final two finalists would ultimately play 83 regular season games. And like players and coaches will earn additional prize money for this tournament. I honestly think, I don't know, it just doesn't sound that cool. I don't know why they think this is going to be like something great for the players. I again, like I said, I think they should do like the G League, like do a G League tournament collab with the NBA. That'd be cool. I'd watch that.
Yeah, I'm having trouble like wrapping my head around of how they're gonna get these players like excited to do this tournament because first off, most NBA players don't even like playing as it is with load management, don't like doing their jobs, as well as the All-Star break too. Like it's already hard to get them to participate in that and even just like events just because cool, you put on a show, this and that. Everyone's acting too cool for this shit. So an in-season tournament that can count like towards the season and even potential money, I definitely see that they will be interested in this. Yeah, they may bitch, moan, and complain a little bit like LeBron did with the play-in tournament, but now that's what he's fighting to make, so that's kind of funny.
Hmm.
But yeah, I think it'll be cool, It's a little change of scenery. I like how the NBA compared to like a bunch of other leagues, they try their best to like incorporate different ways to make the game interesting, obviously with the play-in tournament, in-season tournament, and then just with the All-Star break. So I think it'll be cool. I'm
I think
excited.
I think to me, we talked about, I said that the NBA is a business and it is. And I think purely what the tournament, the midseason tournament is just a cash grab. I mean, if you look at how long the NBA season is, they struggle, I'm assuming, to keep relevancy all the way from when does the season start? Like sometime in
November.
November. Okay. So they have to keep people consistently awake watching basketball from November all the way up until June. And you have other events, other sporting, things that are going on that pull from that attention. The Super Bowl, you've got March Madness, you've got UFC fights and all this other stuff. So from a business standpoint, it's smart to have something that's going to pull a little bit more attention than your average regular season game. But like you said, what I don't understand is why they're incentivizing the players. I think that they should be incentivizing the viewers, us, into wanting to see, something interesting, something really cool. And yes, I think that money will incentivize these players enough to participate. But I think that they should have done something that would have given them better draft stock or something that would have immediately played into their role in the finals too. Just because, like, if you win the midseason tournament, like I'm sure it's going to be really cool and they'll have like a nice trophy and everything. But then what does that mean if it's just one of the 82 games that you're going to play in the season? You know what I mean? It doesn't really mean as much. I think the playoffs and the finals is still where everyone's attention is going to be. So yeah, I mean, I purely see this as a cash grab. I think that it'll be fun to watch, and it'll probably pull my attention more so than just, like I said, the other 82 regular season games. I mean, I know for a fact that I don't watch, 90%, about 80% of all the basketball games that go on in a season until the playoffs and the finals. So yeah, I think this is a good idea. Honestly, I think it'll be fun to watch, but I definitely think that they need to do a little bit more to incentivize the viewer to watch.
Yeah, it's a long season, It's definitely hard. There's going to be points where people just aren't going to watch the NBA. I think where that point probably comes is kind of like the point they're in like right now, like a little bit after the All-Star break.
Hmm.
It's because, like I said, long season, 82 games, man, from November to April, like that's a long time to watch something pretty much every single night. Even NFL, I get tired of it at times, watching
Hmm.
it. It's only on one day a week, pretty much. Like obviously you got Monday, you got Thursday, but
Well,
like
well, if
they're not.
there's like crappy games too. Like if it's like, two teams that are crap in
Yep.
football, at least like you get tired of watching it on Sunday. You're like, I'd rather sit and watch paint dry than this.
Yeah. Or even worse than paint dry, there's a TV show called Psych that people love for some reason. That's yeah. I'd rather watch Psych than like, I don't know, Bears Jets on a Thursday night. But
If anybody's looking for a really good show to watch, go watch Psych.
Yeah,
Kevin doesn't watch anything. Yeah, you see, Victor, our one of our co-hosts likes it.
I rather watch nothing. That's what you're not understanding here.
what
Paint,
episode? What episode did you show him?
I haven't. He won't let me show him an episode. I don't mean to yell. He won't let
I,
me
I've
show him an
I've
episode.
I've seen what I needed to. I didn't have to see a whole episode. It's just these NPCs running around in this TV show thinking they're like Scooby Doo. Like this shit's not funny.
Yeah, Kevin actually just plays like old reruns of basketball games and stares out the window for to like calm himself down. He doesn't watch TV. Isn't that crazy?
YouTube basketball highlights, usually what I do. Yeah, I don't have time to sit around and watch TV. No, I'm just kidding. I definitely do. I have nothing but time. But um, yeah, got some
I
money on the
don't.
line tonight.
Who
Um,
do you?
Sports betting has been taking over. Oh, that's another way that I feel like the NBA or all sports in general has been getting just more people to watch is betting. I mean, how many commercials do you see daily with just a book about FanDuel, DraftKings, BetMGM, this and that? It's so advertised and just everywhere that you can't get away from it. I mean, I have some friends that bet on like tennis and cricket. I know damn well they don't watch it, but hell, if I can make money off it, yeah, I'll throw some money on it. So yeah, the popularity with sports betting, I think, has definitely helped with people watching sports and paying attention to it. It's a lot of fun too, but don't get into it. The shit's horrible for you, horrible for your mental, horrible for your bank account.
What's funny is that like talking about sports betting. Basketball is by far the worst sport to me to bet on. It's like the hardest thing to bet on for well maybe UFC I guess because you really never know who's going to win in what round and everything but I've placed a few bets where like you put money on Curry to drop 20 and the past 5 games he's dropped 40 and you're like okay I hope he gets 21 like at least and then he sits or he comes in plays for 5 minutes and then goes out with an ankle injury or something so I
Yeah.
hate that.
That just comes like time with your betting experience. You get a couple players that what I like to call it on your shit list, meaning
Mm.
like you do not bet on them. I don't care if like the whole other team is like not playing at all. Couple players, for example, they're on my shit list are Klay Thompson. Um, when I don't bet on Klay Thompson, he'll drop 52 points and break the scoring record for 3-pointers. But then I bet him to get like 14 points and he's 0 for 8 and he's doing this to the other team because this is his go-to whenever he loses games, 4 rings. But yeah, see, you got a couple players like that. Jokic being one of them too. I don't know how he doesn't score 20 points. He'll get like 16 points, but like 30 rebounds and 45 assists. I'm like, damn, bro, you can get 2 more layups. So
I think AD is like that too.
yeah,
I'll con-
I believe there was an NBA player that made comments about like um how betting is kind of like taking a toll on sports. I believe it was Chris Boucher. Um, was it that Victor? I think you were telling me about this a little earlier.
Yeah, he was just saying basically like that like it's been like impacting the game and stuff and he's just been getting a lot of like bad comments or like bad Instagram DMs from like these sports bettors that placed a bet on him and they just like completely go at him, which is wrong. And if like then again, you gotta like be like only put what you're like willing to lose when you gamble. And you just like if he doesn't hit, he doesn't hit it. Like just don't put your life savings onto someone to make 10 points, you know?
Yeah, I mean, hey, it's called gambling for a reason. Like you playing with money, but yeah.
This episode is brought to you by Stop Sports Betting immediately. If you or a loved one have friends or family that needs, no, I'm kidding. I see those commercials every like 15 minutes, man. At like every time there's a sport like MGM Grand sporting commercial, there's always like get help right afterwards. Real quick, I just want to make the point. Honestly, I don't think I don't really like when celebrities complain about like, oh, people are DMing me, people are doing this. like, yeah, of course, you're a celebrity with 10 million followers on Instagram and you make more than 90% of the population. Of course, they're gonna take a little bit of time out of their day to say you because they're haters, and
Hey,
that's just
pull your
something that
mic
you have.
closer to your mouth.
Okay, they're haters, and that's just something that they, absolutely will do. So I don't see really why he's complaining. I think he just needs to realize that if you really don't want that many DMs of sports bettors, then just start another account. Because I think that's hilarious. I mean, if I if I put money on Klay Thompson to drop 30 and he dropped 29 the day after, yeah, he's getting a DM saying you're washed, or like that ankle injury isn't coming back. But it's just jokes, you know what I mean? These are grown adults that are making, again, so much money they shouldn't care.
But
That's just my opinion.
but what Chris Boucher got was like actually so messed up.
Yeah, we're not
Uh,
gonna say what the comment was, but Victor had told me it earlier, and it was pretty messed up. It was a messed up comment. Definitely nothing either of any of us would ever say to another human being, not even as a joke or if you were being serious. But yeah, it was bad. But yeah, I mean, you often hear the players say like, "Oh, like I don't care about your bet. Like I really don't care if it hits." But they still direct their attention and energy towards like making a post about it. So that's why people keep doing it because they see that they just want a reaction. That's what people want. Like when you're at games and you get fans in the stands start talking shit to the players, they want a reaction. That's all they want. They don't care about anything else. They don't care about what they say. They just want you to give them that little span of attention. So as long as they keep doing that, they're gonna keep getting DMs from people saying like, "Oh, you suck. You're washed." This and that. Learn Chinese. Seen it all.
yeah, I've seen some pretty messed up stuff on that people have said to celebrities. I will say stuff that takes it way too far. I'm not sure. You guys will have to tell me after the podcast what was said.
Oh,
But but yeah, there's. I mean,
I,
I think. Go ahead, Vic.
I was gonna say I think the most like I don't know if you guys saw the situation with Alvin Kamara. I'm pretty sure it was him. Someone messaged him something like really bad, like the N word to him, and he screenshotted it and sent it to his coach. And I think that
posted on
that
his Instagram story.
yeah, he posted on his Instagram story, and he ended up getting like kicked off the team, or I think he even got like expelled from that school as well.
Yeah, no, I think some actions definitely were taken. And I remember when Alvin Kamara posted on his story that DM of that kid saying it to him, the kid sent him another DM saying like, "Hey, bro, like delete that. I was just kidding, this and that." So what Alvin Kamara did is he screenshotted that message and also put it on his Instagram story. So kind of like that's good. Alvin Kamara was a good sport about it. Like I feel like doing that, like that was pretty funny. Now the guy like losing everything he had, that's what you get. So for being an idiot and going out of your way to message these famous celebrities and athletes for your $10 bet not hitting to win $40. So yeah,
Yeah.
I don't think
Yeah.
they care if you win $40 or not. They really don't. They don't give a shit. But yeah. But before we wrap up today's episode, I'd like to say that this video is sponsored by Fat Dan's Deli in Bloomington on Kirkwood Avenue. Um, just joking, but if y'all ever in the Bloomington area, we're gonna start doing this. Start giving some fire restaurants at the end of every podcast. Feed the fans.
Mhm.
But yeah, we've covered everything we'd like to cover today. We'd like to appreciate you guys for the love and support, as well as any new viewers. Tell your friends, of course. We're trying to grow this podcast to greater new heights. Maybe eventually in the future, get some guests on here as well, which we will start incorporating eventually. But yeah, this has been Good Morning Let's Basketball. Thank you guys. Have a good day.